Welcome to the Shift Podcast with your host, Timera LaChae, and co-host Tai-Rhe Turner, where transformation begins for those raising tomorrow. This podcast is your space to hear real stories from real people, everyday individuals and entrepreneurs sharing their journeys in careers, health and wellness, healing, faith, and so much more. Our mission? To inspire, empower, and create lasting impact, one conversation at a time. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button and share this with 4 friends. Together, we can spread love, positive influence, and transformation, one household at a time. Want to be a guest on The Shift? Scan the QR code and book your spot today. Plus, we're taking The Shift on the road. Bring us to your next event or conference and let's create transformation in the room. Now, are you ready for today's episode? Come on in and let's shift.
Welcome to The Shift with your host, Timera LaChae. You all, I hope y'all are excited about this episode. I am, because I have a friend, a client, someone that's phenomenal in the building with me right now. And I'm excited about her new ventures. I'm excited about what God is doing in her life. And I know you're going to be excited about this amazing conversation. I want you to remember, the shift is all about transforming the lives of those raising tomorrow. So share this with 4 of your amazing friends, because we want to be impactful. We want to provide confirmation. We want to provide revelation and information for an amazing transformation. So at this time, Reiko, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reiko, and I am a nurse coach. I'm excited to be here and to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a nurse for about 10 years now, but I've been in the healthcare field for over 30 years. So I started out as a medical assistant, and I worked as a surgical technologist, and then I became a nurse. So in that, I specialize in stroke neurology, stroke patients who we also, it's like when it's a family. So when the stroke happens to the patient, it also happens to the family and their loved ones as well. So my goal here is to bring some positivity into people's lives and know that they can experience change in a positive way, and there's hope.
Awesome. I love it. So, can you explain to them what made you go into the medical field?
Well, I wanted to be in the medical field because I have a desire to help people. I've always loved helping people. I used to even be the like when I was a little girl, if people were bullied, I would be the person that would be standing up for the people that were getting bullied. So wow. I always wanted people. Yeah. I always wanted, people to feel safe and comforted and to have happy lives. And I just wanted to see the good in people. And I wanted to see, just people be happy.
Okay. Yeah. Number one, to see you or imagine you taking up for the people that were bullied is like mind blowing. Because how tall are you?
I'm almost 4'11". I'm 4'10" and a half. And so I didn't stop. Well, I was pretty, average size till I was like 14. And then, everybody started getting a little bit taller than me.
Okay. You know what? I
stopped growing around there.
Oh my God. That is, wow.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think that's amazing though. I remember sharing on one of the episodes with a young girl that, when I was in elementary and stuff, I actually experienced being bullied. And so there was a young man that I had been in school with from kindergarten to graduation, and he stood up for me. So to hear that you stood up for people, that's what's up, because sometimes that's all we need. We need somebody that can stand up for us. So you're in the medical field, you're a nurse, and when you talk about impacting lives and really helping people, I believe that it has to be a place of passion. Throughout your history, what made you start focusing on strokes, the area of strokes?
Well, I've always loved neurology. I actually when I worked as a surgical technologist. I worked as a neurosurgical surgical technologist, and we had a lot of patients who would come in with brain bleeds, which are strokes, like hemorrhagic strokes, and if they had to have a decompressive like craniotomy, where you would take the bone flap off so that it can release the pressure off the brain. So, but we also had like a lot of trauma and things like that. But then I also worked in the clinic as a nurse in the clinic. So we were servicing patients like far as their outpatient, and that's kind of what I do now. I'm a nurse navigator, and I follow up with patients, the post care. I've been a part of the stroke support group. I just wanted to and working in acute care, which is inpatient and intermediate care, being to able to at least even to put a smile on a person's face who can't really speak. But I just, my heart goes out to them and to their families, and it's like sometimes like they can understand what you're saying, but they can't get out what they're saying, and that's like feeling trapped. But just to be able to be that support system to help them heal, to see the healing journey, because I've experienced stroke patients preoperatively, intraoperatively, far as in the OR, and then post-operatively, which is the recovery, stroke, acute care, stroke and recovery care. So that's, it's fascinating. The brain is just fascinating in and of itself.
Right.
So I'm also interested in other aspects as well, but stroke is the main. And then I know people who've had strokes. I know families who've been affected by strokes.
Gotcha.
And so I just want to help them to have, like I said, a positive outlook on life, help them to have positive outcomes. I want to help them to navigate through the system of, because it's like a whole new life for them.
Right.
So just how to navigate through appointments, different therapies that they can, do or try or to learn about,
right,
so that they can have a better quality of life.
I love that, actually. So when you're talking about being in the medical field, when you're seeing things like that, what does that do for you in your personal life? How does it inspire you?
For one, it makes me to be more grateful, and it makes me to value my life more, and it just helps me to want to be more giving to them and more appreciative of life, to know at any second,
Right.
because at any second we can either pass away or we can have a life-changing event such as a stroke, because
Right.
some people's strokes are minor and some people's are major, to where they can't do anything at all.
It's amazing you say that, because I remember when I used to be married, there was a season, probably around the beginning stages, where I would get angry, and I would and I would like feel like my blood ball, and I'm like, I feel like I'm about to have a stroke. I don't know what a stroke is, but like my mind would go to calm down before you have a stroke.
Yeah.
It was like my mind would just think that way, calm down before you have a stroke.
Right, because there's actually three types of strokes. One is a TIA, which is transient ischemic attack, and that's what a lot of people call that like a mini stroke. Like you'll have symptoms of a stroke, but it goes away quickly. And then you have ischemic stroke, is where there's either clots or a plaque that builds up in the vessels that blocks off the blood flow to your brain, and then sometimes it clots and or it lodges and it kills the tissue around, in that area. So it affects the brain in that area. So then you also, and that one particularly, it has a lot to do with cholesterol, different foods you eat, and it just builds up in your bloodstream, over the years. And then you have you have the hemorrhagic strokes. That's more of, and like the hemorrhagic strokes. That gives when you have like high blood pressure, uncontrolled high blood pressure, the stress. You're stressed. So a lot of those patients, they may have blood pressures 220 over 140, and they stroke out, as they say, they call it, people stroke out. But uncontrolled like blood pressures and stuff is really something that can be managed, beforehand.
Right.
But it can have some really devastating effects. And that's where you have the blood clots that break off and lodge into different parts of your brain.
Gotcha. Okay, so you were talking about blood pressure. What is a normal blood pressure? Like you're good to go.
So 120 over 80 is the goal.
Okay, so 120 over 80.
Yeah,
y'all hear
that's
that?
the goal. It's 120 over 80. So and some people, if your blood pressure normally runs high, or like let's say if your norm is 140, and even though that's considered like a higher blood pressure, these are people that's like long-term chronic blood pressures that need management. But if their blood pressure is usually like 170 over 90s, 140 is gonna feel good to them.
Okay.
Wow. And then so their baseline may be a little bit different than, because you can't drop a person's blood pressure immediately, because that can cause another host of problems.
Gotcha. So when would a person know that they have to go? Because now people can check their blood pressure at home. So right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when would they know I need to go to the hospital?
A lot of people, like if you have a hemorrhagic stroke, they have the worst headache of their lives. It's like a thunderclap headache. And if they feel like they're having one of those, they definitely need to call 911. But you also have other signs and symptoms of a stroke, which is like the B fast method.
Okay.
So B would be for the balance, for your it'll be balance, and if you have a loss of balance or dizziness. And then if you have E, if you have for your eyes, a loss of vision.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of time. And so with the B part of the B fast acronym, the B is their most posterior strokes that occur because the back of your head, the occipital area, it controls our vision.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is this like a stroke that could happen to anybody that's just standing there?
Yes.
Okay. It's wild you said that. I remember last year I was attending a meeting with one of my clients,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all standing outside. But I had not drunk enough water. But I'm standing there, and from my vision to about, I was like, I gotta sit down, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to pass out.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can prevent stuff like that, though? Like, I mean, that probably was a stroke, but I don't know. You just never know.
Probably because you have like the other. I'll talk about the rest of the acronyms. It's the FAST part.
Yeah.
So the face would be, the F would be for your face. If you notice any signs of drooping or anything. A is for your arms or legs. If you feel like there's numbness on one side of your body, or numbness or tingling. And the S is for speech. If you have trouble speaking, or if someone has a trouble understanding you. those are some signs and symptoms. Sometimes people, all they know is that somebody knows, oh, well, your face is drooping.
Wow.
It's usually on one side, because when you have a stroke, it affects one side of your brain. Like say if it's the left side of your brain, then it's going to affect the right side of your body. If it's the right side of your brain, it's going to affect the opposite side of your body.
Okay.
So, and then a lot of times with the left-sided strokes, it affects your speech.
Wow.
Yeah. But and that's to say, I mean, there's a lot more into that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
what could people do to prevent like having a stroke?
One, eating low cholesterol, because one of the big things is fried foods and foods that are not healthy for you, that can build up plaque in the bloodstream. And then you can have exercise, eat right, control your stress levels as much as possible. If you're on blood pressure medications or management, don't be like, I'm not going to take the blood pressure pills, because or whatever. If you can do the modifiable things to keep your blood pressure down, do that too. But that also includes eating right, exercising, drinking water,
right.
Being, healthy. And that's the best way to be. Those are some things that can, and no smoking, drinking, and there are a lot of patients who do drugs.
Wow.
Drugs, especially cocaine, will cause you to have strokes.
Wow.
So crack cocaine, regular cocaine, any cocaine. And so those are a lot of the hemorrhagic strokes, like the brain bleeds. And so those are some things, that are modifiable. Things
right.
that are not modifiable, like if you already had a stroke, if if you've like a family history, like some people do have a history of family history of strokes and stuff. So you have to really monitor that. You monitor your lifestyle so that you can prevent that.
This is some really good information. Like, I think if more people were aware of it, it's kind of like you'll know how to move better in your life and stuff. Because I know for me right now, I'm 200 and some days no meat. And I've seen the difference in my body. I've seen a difference in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't tell people to stop eating meat, but what we put in our bodies really do play a part in the attacks on our bodies.
The inflammation.
And I think we don't really think about those attacks until we get a certain age. Not realizing, no, it can start when you're younger or when you're older, but what we do now really and truly determines what happens in 10 years. And I think sometimes we just really, I don't think we really realize that we are getting older, per se.
I know.
And it's like, oh, we're going to be this age forever. So I'm going to eat this burger. I'm going to eat these fries. And then our body gets attacked and we start asking God, like, help us, heal us, and all those things. And sometimes I be thinking, God be like, I gave you the strategy. You didn't do it.
Exactly.
You did what you wanted to do. Now you want me to
procrastinate it.
Yeah. What can I do?
Right.
And then also I think is, even if you get healed, a lot of times you start out on the right path and then eventually you go back.
Yeah.
And then get hit again.
Yeah.
With you working in the hospital and stuff like that, how important, and I really want to talk about this because I think people need to know, how important is the involvement of family?
Oh, family is extremely important, because sometimes, I don't know if you've heard of failure to thrive. So that's when you have a patient or a person who, it's like kind of like, well, what's the point of eating? What's the point of trying to live, or they're tired, So, and also we notice that people that don't have their family involved, family involvement or loved ones to come visit them, they decline more rapidly than the people, because we encourage, like, especially like with strokes, we encourage families to bring in pictures of the patients with them before the stroke, with their grandchildren or with their children, because remember, strokes can happen at any age.
Wow.
Yes, a lot of people think it's just the older age, but it's any age a stroke can happen. But so we encourage them, and then being able to teach the family how they can be a support to the patient. It's that encouragement, that hope, that makes anybody like thrive in life just on a regular. Having to be, to be able to thrive on a regular is just you need that environment. I mean, because God didn't put us here alone,
right?
He put us here, to socialize with each other, to bond with each other, to increase and multiply, but as well. But
I was telling one of my friends a while ago that when it comes to marriage, one of the things that I believe, and this is just my belief, I believe that when you're choosing your mate or accepting to be chosen by your mate, that picking someone that you know will take care of you in the event something happens to you. Because me personally, if I had to choose, why would I get married? It would be for the longevity, the long run, like when I'm older, opposed to only one, thinking that one is supposed to take care of. I think one of the most important parts of being married is, if something happens to me, you're my person. You're the person that I know can take care of me. There was, when I was in college, I met Pastor Maddox, Joe Maddox. He was actually on the cover of our January magazine, Increase Business and Life Motion magazine for 2025. And I met him. He's a pastor. And I remember meeting him at Fort Valley State University homecoming when I was in college. And his wife had a stroke. Well, he took care of his wife until her passing. Like, he would feed her. You would see these things. He took care of her. And when I saw that, when I would go to Knoxville, Tennessee, to attend their church or do concerts and stuff like that, I was so amazed about how he treated his wife, because she couldn't do for herself, but he stood by her. He took care of her. And it was during that moment that I realized, if you're going to marry somebody, will they take care of you in the long run? When it matters the most. Because nobody wants anyone wiping their bottom. No one wants anyone bathing. But if it's your person, it's more welcoming and more receiving of it, because it's the person that you bow to. It's the person that you said I do to. It's the person that you said for better or for worse to, that you decided to grow old with. And so I think that's one of the most important pieces for me. All the other stuff is great, but that's important. Because I can only imagine growing old and not having, and that's even for people that's single. It's like, okay, you're okay with being single, all of that, you want to do it your way, but what happens when you can no longer do it for yourself? What happens then? Because the older you get, eventually it's going to happen. But it ain't even age, because anything can happen. Anything can happen that causes you to say, I need someone. I need someone. And prayer, we gonna pray. But who do you have in your corner?
Because it's I mean, the patients go through like embarrassment, because it's like, sometimes they're like, well, I don't want you to clean me, but we have to clean them, but it's like a whole thing. They're like, I'm used to doing things for myself. This is like different things that I've heard, like said to me, And then, it's my job, I try to make them feel as comfortable as possible. But it's more, important that they have that family member to be there also and be like, it's okay, I'll help you. I was like, well, me and such, your loved one, we'll do it together. Is that okay?
Right.
And just having like a lot of compassion, for them, because it's a lot, and it's very important, to know that they have someone, that somebody loves them, somebody cares for them, because they, tend to want to give up or be like, you not want to participate with therapy, or not want to eat, or not want the ones that can eat, because a lot of times they can't eat.
Wow.
Because they can't swallow, because if the stroke affects their swallowing, and then some of them, just to understand and have somebody to help talk to them and explain what's, the new norm,
right.
And or that you can get through it. Now I will say we, at my job, we do have a support group.
Oh, that's good.
And I attended one last weekend, because I help out with the support group, but just to see the success stories, being from having a trach, which is, protects device for your airway, and then a peg, which is like tube feeding, and now you're walking in here talking.
Wow, that's powerful.
That's powerful.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Wow. But having that family support, and that can be the determinants or deal breakers for that to go either a good way or a bad way. Gotcha. So family is very important. Having a loved one is very important.
So what are some tips that you can give some of our viewers and listeners when it comes to making sure that they're visible in their life? Because life is so busy, and they may feel like they don't have the time to be present. What are some tips that you can give them? Like, one of the things that came to me is maybe putting reminders in your phone so that the alerts go off. Because from work, children, relationships, friendships, and all those things, I can understand how a person can get so busy that they forget about that loved one that is there.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's
the one that needs to be present to encourage, or what is some tips that you can give them when it comes to making sure that they're present in that person's life that has had a stroke?
Definitely. Well, one tip is for caregivers and loved ones, is for them to take care of themselves, because they can't be present for someone else if they're not present for themselves.
Oh, that's good.
So a lot of times, loved ones will do and do and do, like you say, be extremely busy, and then they wind up getting sick, and then they can't even help the stroke survivor, because they have burnt themselves out. And because when you get burnt out and you have stress, you get comorbidities, you get, ailments. And so mindfulness is one of them, practicing mindfulness. And let me see, some more tips I can give you is that, being present with your loved one, telling them it's okay, involving and learning how to delegate and involve the entire family, not saying, okay, you can do everything, you're the only person that's going to take care of this person. But no, we as a family, we as a unit, we're all going to take turns, and like I say, delegating and knowing that you can have some time for yourself, so and then the other person can have time for themselves, so that you can all not get burnt out, not get, go through exhaustion, or where you to the point where you're not able to mentally be present for the loved one.
Awesome.
So,
Y'all, I hope y'all are getting these tips. I hope you're shifting. If you're shifting, put it in the chat. All right, Rico, if you could just tell them what you have coming up, how they can find you on social media, how they can reach out to you.
okay, well, again, my name is Reiko Poole, and the name of my company is Reiko Poole LLC. And you can reach me on any social media platform under Reiko R. Poole. And my website is reikopoole.com. I have coming up I'm launching my business. So it's coming up. It's going to be on May 31st at 2 p.m. It's going to be a virtual event. We're going to include a link for you to sign up and register. I would love for you to be there. We're going to talk about life reimagined and the comeback after the clot. And we're going to talk about 5 things or some things that to avoid after you have a stroke. And then that way, just try to prevent a stroke reoccurring in your lives. And it's also going to be tips and tools to help the caregivers to also help them to not have strokes, reoccurring strokes. So I look forward to seeing you guys all there, and I'm just excited about it. I just want to share with this and offer one-on-one coaching sessions, offer group sessions, or we can put together a workshop and bring the whole family, friends, and come just have a good time because life is too short. There's a lot of stresses in life. So my goal is to bring you some happiness and some joy, and to help you to reach some feel safe and reach your self-actualization, and to have to have confidence and become a new whole person.
Awesome. So you all give it up for Reiko Poole. Listen, you had to have gotten some amazing information. I was drawn in because the information that was provided is needed. All of us have loved ones. We have aunties, uncles, grandma, granddads. We have children. We have parents. And the truth is, you need to make sure that you're attending her virtual event May 31st for the information for the community, because none of us know the time nor the hour of when anything can occur. Of course, we're praying that nothing happens, but the truth is, things happen. And so you want to make sure that you're going to attend her amazing event. I'm going to be there, and I want you to join me while I'm there.
Yes.
All right? So you all, if you shifted, make sure you put in the chat you shifted. Share this with 4 amazing friends that you know that need to hear the same information that was given on today. All right? You all, I am Timera LaChae with The Shift. This is where we transform the lives of those raising tomorrow. I am the founder and CEO of Increased Marketing and Consulting. This is where we bring business to reality through graphic design, brand strategy and development, business strategy and development, coaching, and client representation. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to go to the next level, you need to visit our website at increaseglobal.net. Now, if you're one that's saying that you are ready to heal, you're ready to get over past trauma, childhood trauma, church trauma, relationship trauma, I would love to be your coach in this hour and help you heal and forgive. If you are interested, visit my website, TimeraLaChae.com, and I look forward to being your coach in this season. Listen, this was an amazing episode, by the way. Okay, listen, you all, I want you to get excited because it's information like this that will help us have a long, healthy life.
Yes.
It's information like this. I want to shout out my co-host Tai-Rhe Turner. He couldn't make this one, but he'll be on the next one. And so if you are in need of a fitness trainer or a health and wellness coach, you can visit his website at reflecthealelevate.com. You all, until next time, continue to share.